Sorry. Okay, good morning and welcome to the State Ethics Commission. Today is October 15th and the time is 0900. And I'm going to ask that everyone introduce himself and tell us if you are alone. And those who are in the audience, if they'd like to introduce themselves. So I'm going to ask Robert.
Of course. So I'm starting with Commissioner Hong. Are you present? And is there anyone else with you?
Present, and no one else is with me.
Commissioner Thielen?
Present, and I'm alone.
And recognizing Commissioner Becker, the chair, myself, and Melissa are all in the conference room. I would like to maybe pause here and see if anyone else would like to introduce themselves from the public. Okay, I'm going to read through some qualifications. Even though this is an in-person meeting, please be aware that all meeting participants are being recorded on the digital record of this Zoom meeting, which will be posted on our website and used to create official minutes. Your continued participation is your implied consent to be part of the public record of this event. If you do not wish to be part of the public record, you should exit this meeting now. For any members of the public who may be joining us remotely, if the Commission's video conference connection is lost during the meeting, we will recess the meeting and reconvene after our connection is restored. Please check the Commission's website, ethics.hawaii.gov, for information about reconnecting to the meeting. If the meeting is continued to a later date or terminated, information about this will be posted on our website. At this moment, are there any members of the public joining us who would like to identify themselves at this time?
Could you ask if our staff is here and alone?
They actually don't have to indicate that.
They're not doing that anymore?
No.
Oh, okay.
Only the commissioners who are voting.
Oh, okay. You hear that? I didn't know that. Staff doesn't have to declare that they're alone, and only us commissioners are alone. Okay, anyway. All right, first order of business, consideration and approval of the minutes of August 20th, 2025. Are there any corrections? Any input from the public? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes of August 20th, 2025.
I move.
Moved by Commissioner Thielen.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hong. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hong.
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen.
Aye.
Commissioner Becker.
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, motion's carried. Second, approval of the minutes of August 20th executive session meeting. Any corrections by the commissioners? Okay, I will ask for
Public testimony.
public doesn't they
They can still say.
Oh, okay. I will ask the public if they have any comments, even though they weren't part of the executive session. None? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes of the August 20th, 2025 executive session.
I move.
Moved by Commissioner Thielen.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Becker. Roll call.
Commissioner Hong.
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen.
Aye.
Commissioner Becker. Aye. Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, the motion's carried. Next order of business, it's with mixed feeling, sad feelings that we are going to be missing our vice chair of our commission, and they're right there.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
And she is leaving us. And we would like to thank her for her dedicated service of 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. She resides, for those of you who may have forgotten, she resides on Kauai, and she couldn't make it today. She had an emergency. But we do want to recognize her, and I'm going to miss her, but I am going to read in absentia her actually resolution and commending her service to the state of Hawaii as a commissioner. Actually, what I was gonna do is I was gonna say this is call her attention because she's a retired military too, but she's not here, so I couldn't do that. This is the resolution we're gonna send to her on Kauai. It states, whereas Article 14 of the Constitution of the State of Hawaii affirms the belief of the people of Hawaii that public officers and employees must exhibit the highest standards of ethical conduct. And whereas the Hawaii State Ethics Commission recognizes individuals have made significant contributions to promoting ethics in government. And whereas Beverly D. Tobias has demonstrated her personal commitment to public service and has made significant contributions to promoting the highest ethical standards in government. And whereas the Hawaii State Ethics Commission proudly recognizes Beverly D. Tobias for her dedicated public service to the state of Hawaii and for her contributions to ethics while serving as a member of the Hawaii State Ethics Commission from July 2021 to January 2024 and as vice chair from February 2024 to October 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hawaii State Ethics Commission hereby commends Beverly D. Tobias for her outstanding personal commitment and contributions to the state of Hawaii and to ethics in government, and be it further resolved that the Hawaii State Ethics Commission extends to Beverly D. Tobias its warmest aloha, appreciation, and warm wishes. Dated Honolulu, Hawaii, October 15th, 2025. Hawaii State Ethics Commission signed by all of her fellow commissioners. We will present this or actually send this to her on Kauai, and we're going to miss her. Anybody want to say any parting words for as commissioners about her for the record?
I think Beverly did an outstanding job, and especially in her service as vice chair.
I'd like to echo that, and she's been an outstanding member.
Agree. I think we all agree, and we're going to miss her. So I believe that should do it. We do have a special gift for her, and I want to thank all of the staff and the commissioners who donated to her gift. And I hope that she enjoys it and remembers us. Maybe she wants to forget us. I don't know. No, but remembers us because we will remember her. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. My pleasure to introduce the new executive director.
Saved?
Can't afford a big table, like we have to split it. I introduced a new executive director from the Maui Board of Ethics, and it's been a long time coming. I remember my buddy Mike Lilly over there saying, "You got everybody. We don't have anybody over here." I said, "Well, now you do have somebody, or bodies, I should say." So, if I may, I'd like to introduce the new executive director from Maui Ethics Commission, Lauren Akitaki. Is that correct?
Itake, yes.
Okay. Would you like to just tell us a little something about you or anything about the new formed Maui Ethics Commission?
Sure. So what an honor to be with you folks today. I just want to give you a huge thank you. Your support to the Maui Board of Ethics, particularly Captain Lilly, really was so important in the board getting the initiative on the ballot and getting it passed. And then a huge thank you to Director Harris, Key Campbell, your office, your investigator, because your support to me has, and Director Harris knows, has just been invaluable. I mean, I have had to get up to speed so quickly and to open the office, hire staff. We are doing a huge rules revision, 45 rules, administrative rules. We're revising, hopefully if it passed next week, Wednesday, to account for our office. And there have been so many issues so quickly. And Director Harris mentioned to me that, you know, it's a narrow area of law, but it's very complicated. And so it is so helpful to be able to call, bounce things off of your office, also to see what you folks are doing and follow your example as to where to go. So a little bit about me, and I do want to say a few words about Vice Chair Tobias, and I'm very sad she's not on today. I actually work with her a little bit. I am the president of the American Association of University Women Maui branch, and Vice Chair Tobias either is the president or the past president of the Hawai'i branch. So we did work together a little bit, and she's just wonderful all around. So I'm sad to miss her today, but so a little bit about me. I am an attorney. I was in private practice for 10 years, solo practice, practicing for about 18 years. I was a per diem district court judge for 4 years, and I had to step down from that to be the new ethics director. And I was very happy in my former life of private practice and being a per diem district court judge. But I'm born and raised on Maui, and people came a knocking, and I said no. And then they knocked again, and I said no. And then I thought about it, and you know, if my efforts can help to elevate trust in government on Maui, elevate the ethical standards, then that's where I need to be. And so it has been very hard to wrap up my law practice of 10 years, to step down as a per diem, jump into this role that is new. But where we are going is so important and so needed. I'm realizing I'm a little surprised how we were able to run for so long, and that's not so long, but the way we were running. And it led to misuse of our process, because everything went to the Board of Ethics. They reviewed every financial disclosure statement, every complaint that was filed, every formal advisory opinion went to the Board of Ethics. So, and it currently does under the old rules that hopefully we'll revise next week. Confidentiality of our complaints are not always kept by the complainant. And so the rule revision is going to address that and have some penalties for that. And that's part of the misuse of our process. So lots we need to do. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is I see some of the commissioners have a connection to the University of Hawaii. I'm a University of Hawaii regent. So I've been a regent for 2.5 years, representing Maui, but you know, one of the 11. And that is my very big unpaid job. And I am still a regent. So I'm over there tomorrow for a meeting at Honolulu Community College. But yes. Oh, another thing that we're doing at the Maui Board of Ethics is we are going to address our lobbyist rules, which are virtually non-existent. And so that definitely needs to get up to standard. We are also looking at our gift rules, and I've talked with Director Harris about that. Before I started, we had a permitted interaction group formed to look at it, as we have a gift guide on our website that lists $25 and gifts of aloha. That is nowhere in our rules. So it appeared, it came from somewhere, and it's staying through the holiday season. But after that, we definitely need to be following rules that are actually rules. So that's what I mean when I started when Captain Lilly started. it's really eye-opening how attention has not been spent on ethics in Maui County. And there's a lot to be done, and it will help definitely to elevate trust in government and the ethical standards of the county. So just a big thank you to you all for your support, and a thank you for all the support that will come as I will be calling. And I have spent 2 afternoons at your office, and I asked a lot of questions. So just so appreciative of the support. That was a lot. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, before I have any questions, I want to congratulate you. Just for your information, you are probably going to be the youngest and the newest ethics commission in the United States. And we being the oldest ethics commission in the United States, we're 50-something years old. So we have a very remarkable distinction. And I welcome you to the world of ethics. I don't know what you felt, but when somebody asked me what I was doing, on this commission, I said, we're dealing with ethics. And they said, isn't that an oxymoron, lawyers, ethics? So, but let me tell you, I think all of us agree that it is very rewarding and an honorable position that I believe ethics is the cornerstone of good government and honest government. And may I offer the services of our executive director. Anytime you need any help, just go call him, okay? That's part of his job description. But we're so happy that you have a full staff, because I know that Robert and I did submit testimony to the Maui Council, and it worked, I guess. And say hello to Mike for me. Commissioners, any comments or any questions? No. Again, Lauren, congratulations. Oh, one more thing. Normally, a lot of times we have a state ethics commission, conference? We always have it in Honolulu. Think about maybe having it on Maui. Never mind. Now that you're full staff, right?
There are areas for collaboration, for sure.
Okay.
Chair Macy.
Sure. Go ahead.
I really do want to congratulate the Maui Board of Ethics, Lauren, and all the commissioners for getting to the point of having a staff and professionalizing. And I think that is the bulk of the congratulations reside there. I do also want to point out to the commissioners that we started this conversation several years ago, particularly with the Foliage Commission, in recognizing that the neighbor islands needed to professionalize and have staff, and that was one of the basis of corruption cases across the state, was in part at the county level. And as a result of that, there were several news stories coming out of our efforts in that, and there was legislation introduced, which I think led to us also bringing up this topic at the state ethics conference. So that's a long-winded way of saying, I think this was a joint effort, and it's really wonderful to see the culmination of it. And as a result, as I've stressed to Lauren, and I'll stress to anybody else in the Maui Board of Ethics, our doors are open. We're happy to help in any way we can. We want to see this succeed as best we can, and hopefully become a model for the other neighbor islands who hopefully will follow your example. And soon you will no longer be the newest. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Anyway, again, congratulations. Come on down anytime, and come visit us. But say hello to everybody out there, especially my buddy Mike. He's Navy and I'm Army, but we have the same, we're in the same rank. Although I always say the Navy's, when you become a 06, you get demoted to captain. But anyway, tell him I said hello and congratulations. He was a catalyst in this, so thank him.
Definitely.
Okay, anybody else, any comments? Any staff want to say anything? No, okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, moving right on.
Take care.
Thank you. Moving right along, director's reports, education and disclosures.
I can turn that over to Benita.
Bonita, are we over 90?
Good morning, commissioners. So in terms of the updates for training and disclosures, just a quick update. We have reached out to all the agencies and board contacts and asked them to provide updates and reminders to their personnel, board members, particularly new individuals, to make sure that they have taken their training and or filed disclosures if they're subject to disclosure requirements. We've also asked agencies to provide updates before the end of the year, so that for public reporting purposes and to be able to report back to the commission how the agencies are doing overall in terms of their numbers. So we'll be providing that information either December or January meeting.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, next, guidance and assignment statistics.
That's me. Good morning, commissioners. So basically, in the month of September, we had 53 complaints opened. So we had a lot of complaints the month. We closed 39 of them. So still working on closing some of those matters, but generally a lot of volume in September. In terms of the year, we have 307 complaints open to date. So we're on pace to be at or around what we had last year. In terms of the types of complaints we're receiving, as per usual, we're getting most of the complaints are about fair treatment, or some of them, a decent portion of them, we do not have jurisdiction. We broke out the median days to close complaints, so that's 23. And I think for next quarterly report, we're working on breaking out more of the not applicable and some of these statistics into more useful bites. So hopefully that'll be coming by the end of the year. And then in terms of AOD trends, 41 written summaries issued. So those are advice emails that we're sending, memorializing our advice. And again, most of our inquiries are about gifts, fair treatments, and conflicts.
My understanding is that we have quite a few complaints coming in, but a lot of them are closed because lack of jurisdiction. Is that most of them?
Yeah, so 41% of these, the not applicable tab, they are generally do not involve state employees. So that not applicable tab is all cases that do not involve state employees. And for those, we are referring to counties, we are referring to the appropriate government agency that can handle their matter. Yeah.
Okay. Do I ask for public input on this?
We can probably wait until the end of the director's report.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, next, miscellaneous office projects.
And before we move on to keys, if I can just point out
Sure.
on page 24, and is essentially our latest version of essentially trying to indicate with more accountability. If you recall, this was one of the goals of the year of being able to provide more direct information about what the Ethics Commission is actively doing. And this is still a work in progress. We want to be able to break out, as Key mentioned, not applicable. But I really do want to emphasize, we only have this type of specific information as a result of last year's update of our computer system, which allows us to now be able to report this kind of detail out publicly. And again, we're going to keep striving to try to provide more and more information without revealing or breaking the confidentiality of the underlying investigation. But I do think this is really beneficial because now we're able to use this kind of information to then drive our trainings. For example, if you look at the attorney data trends, we see a lot of questions around gifts, even though it doesn't make up a lot of our complaints. It shows that employees have active questions about gifts, and that's the type of thing we can then use to highlight in our educational trainings to really focus on those specific questions. Again, I just want to emphasize, I think this is a really, really positive thing that we've done this year. It's one of our primary goals that we set for ourselves, and I'm hoping we'll continue to be able to provide more information. I anticipate our annual report will start looking more like this with really clear, hopefully easy to use information that people can then run with. And finally, as Keith noted, the median days to close, I think, is a healthy number. I don't think we'd want to see this number to be too short. I think that would indicate we're probably not looking at the complaints hard enough. We also don't really want this number to be too long. So, what is the exact best number? I don't know. I'll leave that to the commissioners, but I think this is in the range of sort of showing We are trying to be efficient and quick with the complaints that come in, but sometimes they are going to take longer to review and dig into. So,
Yeah, well, let me just add on to that. Actually, I marked up this page and I said, good, very good. It says, because actually complaints, 126 complaints, and we closed 123, and we median days to close is 23. It's pretty darn good for a governmental agency. Normally it says, well, we're working on it. We'll get back to you. So congratulations, keep up the good work. And I gather what you mentioned is more fair treatment is the one that's really, yeah.
so fair treatment is clearly where we see the highest number of complaints. And fair treatment is a pretty broad category, so that's
Yeah.
understandable.
Okay.
And the not applicable and the referring to other agencies, et cetera, we'd like to start trying to break out more information. So again, I think this is taking a little bit of time to emphasize. I think this has been a lot of effort. I really want to recognize Key and Caroline and Patrick for helping put this together. And again, you know, this is a culmination of a lot. And when you see success like this, it's usually the result of lots of work that's been going on for months. And it's continuing on. I hope to get better, but I really want to make sure we emphasize this a year. This is something we're doing to make sure people have confidence in government in general, that they can see the transparency of what we're doing.
Very good. Any questions from the, first of all, from the commissioners? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay.
If I could just briefly wrap up too, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We also have our quarterly report on the financial report, and there isn't necessarily a lot to highlight. It's essentially we're on track within the quarter. If anybody has specific questions about reported expenses, happy to get into that. You do see some travel expenses, which is us pre-booking the total flights that are showing up. But other than that, again, I think we're largely on track.
Okay. Any questions? No comments? Okay, moving right along. These item number 6, discussion media reports, anything?
So again, just as a reminder, this is a standing item for us to talk about anything that's happened since the last meeting regarding either ethics or the commission. I'll briefly just note some of the articles that came out in case somebody wants to talk about them. On 10/12, there was a Civil Beat article about Senate candidates to replace the Senator Henry Aquino, who resigned, and there's references to Rita Cavanilla and a former ethics investigation into her. Hawaii Business did an article about sexual harassment in the workplace, and there's references to the commission's prior actions involving a former legislator. There's a Civil Beat article in 10/9 referencing Campaign Spending Commission's attempts to adjust their salaries to match our commission salaries, not commissioner salaries, but staff salaries. October 5th, there's a Civil Beat story about Aquino voting with the lobbyists he's moving to work for. October 3rd, there's a Civil Beat article covering an investigation into a Public Utilities Commission employee and reference to a former Ethics Commission investigation to that employee. September 26th, there is references in the citizen portal to the Maui Board of Ethics, modifying its rules and specifically looking at the State Ethics Commission to adopt rules similar to ours. September 18th, there is Civil Beat coverage of the Akana decision, which we will talk about soon. And August 31st, Civil Beat coverage of a UH study that, again, is looking at the lobbying data that we have publicly available. As a result of some of the legal changes, there's greater degrees of data, and they're able to show that they can now show bills where there's broad consensus and conflicts, and they can also show between different segments of the community about who's agreeing and who's dissenting. So they're very happy with the new data that we're providing. Finally, on August 29th, there's also a Maui Now article that covers the same topic.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? How about the public? Any questions or comments? Good report, thank you. Item number, let's see, 7, effects of a longer legislative session. I read it and I guess the bottom line is we do it, it'll cost 50 grand for us, is that it?
So Chair, thank you. There was I presume the Legislative Research, the Reference Bureau, was tasked with doing a study of what the potential cost would be of a longer legislative session. And so they asked us to address 3 different scenarios, just basically how much longer the legislative session would be. We responded, or we have a draft response for the commission to approve, which would indicate that we don't really anticipate any annual increases. The only increase we can anticipate is if we had to change the disclosures when lobbyists file their disclosures, how frequently they file their disclosures, which might require us to update our database system, potentially update rules and guidances. And we are conservatively estimating that could cost a one-time of $50,000 to do. And that really just depends on how the disclosures change as a result of the different session.
Okay. It does include the commissioner's salaries.
It includes, and this is a joke, 100% increase to all commissioner salaries, which is 100% of 0 is still 0.
All right. Anyway, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, that's very good. Yeah, go ahead.
Just operational impact of having to service the legislature and legislators, is there any of that? So, at our department, it's a major effort to track all the bills, submit testimony, go to hearings, answer questions. So is there no concern on that front?
Currently, I'm the only staff person who usually handles that. The anticipations, we wouldn't necessarily see a lot more bills necessarily, just maybe spread out more over time. And the presumption is we can sort of handle that in the normal course of business. Obviously, that could be a miscalculation, but I think as of now, we wouldn't anticipate it being a lot greater.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Public, any comments, questions? Yes, no?
I would ask, again, I think the chair has the authority to send back this letter. I don't know if you want to have the commission to vote on it, to approve it before the chair sends it back.
What do you recommend? That we vote on it?
I think it's probably the safest or easiest.
Okay, and what Robert has suggested that we have a motion that we send a letter which was prepared. And I think under whose signature we were, Mike, under my signature, explaining exactly what Robert had gone over. Any objections to that? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we send a letter that was prepared by Robert in regards to the effects of a longer legislative session under my signature.
So
Anybody want
moved.
to make that motion?
So moved.
by, thank you. Moved by Commissioner Hahn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Thiel. Any discussion? Basically, it's just going to outline exactly what Robert has said, how it affects, how the longer session would affect Ethics Commission. Any more discussion? Any comments from the audience, or public rather? Okay, roll call.
Starting with Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen,
Aye.
Commissioner Becker, Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, the motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Item number 8, discussion of possible legislative proposals. There's 3 of them. We'll do one at a time. Do you want to go for each one? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's do this. Can you, when we go through each one, can you give us the page number so we can look at it?
Sure, starting on page 35.
35, I got that.
So we have 2 bills that are new. We have 1 bill that's been discussed before and hopefully in final format. our hope is to get the commission's blessing on these bills. We're hoping to, if possible, finalize our legislative package by next month. With the potential of not having a meeting in December. Typically, we've held meetings in December to try to wrap up our legislative package, and if we're already done by then, potentially allows us to break in December. So there's no necessity of having to do that, but we're trying.
Okay. You do this, we have 3 resolutions. Maybe you can just give a brief summary of each resolution. What's the effect that we're trying to?
Do we want to do it one by one? Or
Yeah, one by one. One by one. Then we'll vote on each one individually.
Sure. So the first bill is titled Relating to Restrictions on Pre-Employment. As you may be aware, we have a existing restriction on post-employment. The intent is to prohibit employees from leaving state service and then to immediately start essentially trying to represent clients or to conduct business before their former agency. And so that's sort of considered the post-employment. The similar restriction is lobbyists or folks who are heavily engaged in a particular industry coming into state service. So pre-employment, and that's sort of the 2 sides of the revolving door that's sometimes used to describe this situation on a federal level. This proposed pre-employment is deliberately intended to be narrowly tailored, and it's focused on matters that employees have worked on. The idea of focusing on matters is to indicate they potentially can still do stuff involving a former client and left they were specifically engaged on that particular item that is before their new state agency or state position. So it is a fine line, admittedly, and it may be one that's difficult to enforce. But the intent is try to find compromise between allowing experienced individuals to come into positions where they may have a lot of contacts within the industry, with also trying to create a bright line that can be applied from a public confidence or otherwise. There are examples where this might be applicable to particular employees that have come into the state service. I'd really rather not start trying to identify it. This is really a forward-looking proposal. And again, the idea is to try to create confidence that state employees coming into state service are going to be focused on state service and that they're going to be hands-off in anything they've dealt with for former clients.
So any questions, commissioners? I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Who's gonna blow the whistle on these guys who have pre-employment? That's my first question. Second question is, let's give an example. I work for Hawai'i Electric Company and I'm going to be elected as a representative now. Only if I worked on something that I've been compensated for, I remember seeing that word, then I shouldn't take any action. But if I had nothing to do with an item that deals with Hawai'i Electric, I mean, it's a different department, I can go ahead and participate in that discussion.
So let me address the questions last to first.
Sure.
So first, you made the example of a legislator. This does not apply to legislators. This is only employees.
Well, I'm sorry, but employees,
So using the same example,
Yeah.
let's say someone you worked for or worked as a client, Hawai'i Electric, and then say they went to the Public Utilities Commission. The fine line here would be, could they make decisions impacting Hawai'i Electric generally? If they worked on a contract or a proposal, they'd be banned from making decisions involving that contract, that proposal. Say it was a rate case and they made some type of determinations, they'd be barred from being involved in that rate case. They would not be barred from being involved with Hawai'i Electric generally, because it's matter specific, not client specific.
Let me ask, I'm gonna go back to that one question. Why is it just for state, other than legislators? I mean, heavens, you got legislators running for office from the private sector.
So this is a policy call, and it's certainly one that the commission could decide to go a different direction. Staff's discussion on this was one, legislators, when they're running for public office, there is some transparency around sort of who they work for. We require them to file disclosures. And so, presumptively, the public knows about this when they elect that candidate, that they're walking in with these types of conflicts. Public doesn't have the same degree of visibility, transparency, or say regarding employees in general.
Okay.
Secondly, which is probably even bigger, is we currently don't have jurisdiction over conflicts of interest of legislators. This is pretty analogous to a conflict of interest.
Just like nepotism.
I wouldn't say it may be different from nepotism. I mean, clearly we could regulate nepotism at the legislative level if the statute changed.
Well, that's coming up.
Correct. Conflicts of interest, if we don't have oversight of that, it's a little hard to say we should also have oversight of this. These are sort of pretty comparable things.
Okay.
And so the idea is both should change if we're going to do that.
The first question.
Blowing the whistle and enforcement is going to be tricky. I mean, admittedly, we're operating on the assumption here that 98% of all state employees are trying to do the right thing. This is creating a bright line rule for them. I really do sincerely believe 98% of state employees try to do the right thing. And that this is creating a bright line for them that they would have going forward as an interstate service. This is the line they have to draw. Further, I think even for those who try to push the envelope, recognizing that this could impact any of the decisions, I think there's probably some incentive for them not to be involved in matters that they had been involved in and worked on. Because if it did come out, potentially it blows up the entire decision process.
Yeah.
So sometimes you ask law, may not be the most easily enforceable, but we still think the net positive is going to be there because it's creating a bright line for people to follow.
Any other questions of commissioners or comments?
I have a comment. I mean, it's just reading the definition of matter, it does seem very narrow. And it seems like there's potential for people coming from private company, turning around and helping that company and not meeting this definition of a matter, right? I mean, it is so narrow. It's a particular contract, particular thing, And so there'll be a lot of opportunities to help your former employer out. So I would be open to making that more broad. And then, I think 1 year is actually a pretty short period of time, especially for like a cabinet level official getting appointed, has 4 years to do whatever they're going to do. So, I'd also be open to extending that especially for higher level officials.
Did everybody hear what Commissioner Becker said? What would you like to do? Send it back to
It's just like my comments, if anybody agrees, I think, I think I would want to move that way, but I don't know if this was drafted just for practicality and, hoping like something like this might pass versus maybe something else.
I have a question just to ask Robert. Are there any other documents like on a national level where this type of issues are raised, like federal? I tried to look it up, but I can't really find, backgrounds.
The definition of matter was based on the federal similar, both by executive order under President Obama. There have been similar efforts on the federal level. So we did base matter on that with the idea of trying to be consistent based on there's interpretations. We have not found a lot of state examples of this. So we'd be on the cutting edge for states trying to enact something similar to this.
Any comments, since Commissioner Thielen, you've been on? No? What's your pleasure? Do you wanna, do we still have time if we send it back?
We still have time.
You want us send it back and try to incorporate, be a little more broader, is that it? And maybe the time frame a little longer?
That'd be my preference, but
The suggestion by Commissioner Becker will send back this legislation to make it broader in regards to matter, the word matter, and then also make it longer or the longer in regards to the time frame rather than 1 year, maybe 2 years or
Two's better than one.
two's better than one, yeah. What do you think, commissioners? Is that okay with you? I don't know if we don't need to take a poll with this, if it's consensus or. Do you want to?
If you're gonna send it back, or you can go ahead and just make the change now, you can say 2 years. I think the expansion of matter may involve more discussion. We get to interpret this to some extent too, so you know what that means is still somewhat
Maybe-
to the commissions.
Maybe go back and expand the definition of matter but we can extend it to 2 years. Any objections to commissioners? I'm gonna go, cut the red tape. Commissioners to extend it 1 year to 2 years.
No objection.
Any objection, Commissioner Thielen? No, okay, no objection. Let's change it to 2 years. Is that okay? I'm in favor of it. And then just go back and maybe expand the definition of matter and come back to us. Is that okay?
Yes.
We're gonna send it back and maybe expand the definition of matter and be a little more. I don't know what. Anyway, whatever it is, Claire. Just definition of matter. Is that okay with Commissioner Hong?
Yes.
Commissioner Thielen?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, just technically, is it a restriction on pre-employment or employment, right? Because it's so just.
The title, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think we were definitely trying to keep pre-employment in there, because that's conceptually what this is not of. So, yeah, so we changed the restriction.
Okay, unless there are any objections, we're gonna send this back to, I guess, review and revise, make it a little more succinct. Is that a good word? Succinct. Any objections? And if not, let's move on to second resolution. I'm sorry,
Sure.
legislation. Yes, go ahead. Who's on the second version?
So this is still me. This is one that Chair, you had asked for.
Yeah.
This is an exact copy of a draft bill introduced last year. I would, subsequent to putting the agenda, we realized that the bill from last year did not actually cover legislators, our definition of employee. So my recommendation, if the commission decides to support introduction of this bill, that it be amended to say employee or legislator consistently throughout. So just to summarize it briefly, this is a proposed bill that takes the existing nepotism law and would extend it to cover the legislative and judicial branches as well.
We would cover legislative and judicial.
Correct.
Commissioners, any questions or comments before I make my comments? Anyway, I think it's a good bill because right now the Senate follows the nepotism law that we have enacted. Or that's the law, right? Yeah.
Both Senate and House have rules prohibiting nepotism.
And this really just brings everybody into the fold, I guess, is a good way of putting it. What's good for me, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I remember talking to some of the senators, and he says, I don't know why the houses could follow the same rules we follow in regards to nepotism. I won't mention who the senators are. So, again, should apply to everybody. One example, which I bring out for my district or neighborhood board, we had it's public. We had a legislator who hired his wife for 19 years as a what do you call it? Business manager. It again, the Senate is following it, and I think the House should follow it too. That's my take on it. Any comments on this? And I'm gonna ask if you're in favor of it, I'll ask for a motion that we approve or what do we do? Include or-
So I would ask for a motion to approve, but include the term legislator or employee consistently throughout the bill.
Did you understand that?
So
Move
moved.
to, I'd entertain a motion that we approve this bill with the addition of,
Including legislator or employee consistently throughout.
including legislator or employee throughout the bill. Anybody like to make that motion that we can discuss it?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hall, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Now discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen,
Aye.
Commissioner Becker,
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Third bill.
So this bill starts on page 42. This is a bill that we have considered 2 past meetings. We went into executive session with our Attorney General, Kenneth Park, who's also joined us for this meeting. I see her on the Zoom. And we have attempted to address some of the concerns that were raised. This version is, I think, trying to split some of the concerns and trying to address them, being as narrowly tailored as possible, and it's for your consideration. To summarize briefly, this bill would prohibit active engagement and fundraising by executive branch employees who have been appointed and confirmed by the Senate, appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. So it's a relatively narrow group of high-level executive employees. And it is available for your discussion.
I believe, was it, Commissioner Thielen, that's your baby. Yeah, you want to speak on it first? Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate staff working on this to make it a very narrow, focused pay-to-play bill that applies to a very limited amount of high-ranking government officials. And I think it's a very good first step. Assuming it will make it through the legislature, we then can see how this plays out and whether it is really beginning to stop the pay to play, at least with that narrow class of people. And then we could see where to go from there. But thank you to staff, and I think the bill is well drafted, and I hope my fellow commissioners will support this.
Well, may I say that thank you for your initiative, especially coming from a former legislator. I mean, I've worked for government for a long time, so anyway, thank you. Any comments from or questions from the other commissioners? Commissioner Hall? Commissioner Cook?
No.
Okay, I guess, any comments or questions from the public? I guess the new, I entertain a motion that we approve bill, what do you call this one? Bill for relating to the political fundraising by executive branch employees. That
I so move.
Moved by Commissioner Thielen.
Second. I'll defer to Commissioner Becker.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Becker and thirded by Commissioner Hong. Okay, any discussion? Or roll call?
Did we ask for public input?
Oh, I already did.
Did we?
Yeah, I did, right after. Oh, I'll ask again, any public input? I asked for that before the motion.
Okay, sorry.
That's great. Thanks for reminding me.
So roll call, starting with Commissioner Hong,
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen,
Aye.
Commissioner Becker,
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, the motion is carried. Thanks again, Commissioner Thielen and other commissioners. That does it, doesn't it? Do we have them?
Right.
All right, moving right along, let's see where we are.
Akana.
Uh, let's see, legislator. Oh my gosh. Hopefully for the last time, I would say item dealing with Akana. Is that it?
I certainly hope this will no longer have to be a standing item on our agenda as well. So the long-standing case was decided by the Hawaii Supreme Court on almost entirely in our favor, with some directions which we already follow, which includes that the commission should look to the agency, in this case OHA's, instructions and directions on sort of employee conduct. So we did issue a news release, and attached is the decision. It's a unanimous decision, and very pleased to see it. The only thing that's left in this case is that the Attorney General's office is pursuing collections. They have a separate collections case, but that is outside of our jurisdiction. It's now totally on the EG's office. And I think we would only talk about it to the extent that we get a report that it's all wrapped up.
Okay, thank you. Candace, you're on WebEx. Do you have any comments about this case that we should know about?
No, I do not.
Okay. Any questions or comments by any of the commissioners? I have one last question, which I don't think it'll happen. What's the statute of limitations for appeal to the Supreme Court of the United States? And of course, you gotta file a writ of certiorari, right?
I'm not sure I can actually answer that one. I don't know. But yes, you're right. They would have to file a writ, and I'm not sure what the basis would be.
I mean, I never thought that she'd appeal, but you know, look, it's been 7.5 years. 7.5 years. I started with this case, I'm gonna end with this case. Yeah, but do we keep it on the, or we just take it off?
I would propose that this comes off as an agenda item, and we will report, you know, if anything comes up of noteworthy news. But I think from our jurisdiction's perspective, we are done.
Yeah, I don't think she's got enough money left. Anyway, okay, if there are no objections, we're gonna eliminate Akana for the last time off of our agenda, unless something comes off. Any objection to that?
No.
Okay, and we did tell Ray Gralty, and he was ecstatic. We started this together 7.5 years, 7.5 years ago. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's see, adjournment. Anything that the committee wants to bring up? If not, I don't have anything more on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Move by Commissioner Hong. Second. So second by Commissioner Becker. We're gonna need a roll call on that.
You can ask for consent.
Okay. All those who are in favor of adjourning, and we'll reconvene, and is it 5 minutes okay with everybody? We'll reconvene 5 minutes. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No nays? Meeting is adjourned. We'll see you at 10:05, guys. Bye.
Thank you.